workers in Ghana, you realize that your hope is gone. However, I'm here to assure you that there's a new hope. This man I'm about to introduce, for all his life, has fought for the liberties and freedom of individuals, not only in Ghana, but it transcends. At a very young age, he became the General Secretary for the People's Movement for Freedom and Justice, which fought against military governance. As a lawyer, he has been able to advocate for a number of cases to free Ghanaians in Ghana and even in abroad. He has trained many renowned lawyers, including Atachia, Oslo Osu, Philip Addison, John Colinde, and others. As the Attorney General, he was able to help repeal the criminal libel law. And as a foreign minister, he once upon a time in 2006 chaired the Security Council in the UN. Ladies and gentlemen, the man to transform Ghana through industrialization and modernization of agriculture. The man to ensure that every child, regardless of the parents' financial background, will be able to access free education. The man who is here to tell us how you'll be able to make sure Ghana will be able to take advantage of the West African economy market. Ladies and gentlemen, the flag bearer of the new Patriotic Party, the soon-coming president of the Republic of Ghana, the new eye of Ghana and Africa, Addo Dankwa Akuffo-Addo.
Okay, so the format for the press conference today is going to be that due to time and scheduling, we have each presenter asking one question. We also have some people online and around the world who are also going to be participating here today. My name is Akufo-Addo. I'm the Communications Director for the party here in the United States of America. What we're going to do is that we have a few questions that have already been sent to us. So Kofi Abia will be asking the questions to Nana Akufo-Addo, and then Nana would be answering them accordingly. And if we did miss your question, you can let us know and we'll be able to add you to that. So Kofi, you would be able to ask the first questions. As they do come on, I'll pass it over to you and you take it.
Sure, thank you. Nana, the first question. In 2004, NPP won 6 regions. NDC won 2 constituencies and Asante region. In the last election, NPP only won 2 regions. And NDC has increased their constituency in Asante region to 5. It appears the party's fortunes are dwindling. How would you be able to reverse this?
Well, we began the process. We thank you. First of all, let me thank you all for giving me this opportunity to speak. I'm grouping largely Ghanaians in America. Or am I speaking to Ghanaians worldwide?
You speak to Ghanaians worldwide. You have people in the UK, you have people in Germany.
Thank you very much. We began the process of mobilization of the party. I've just been on the research tour to see what we can do to make sure that the constituency organizations and the new parliamentary candidates are working well. And we are confident that we will win the next election. Then the reversal of fortunes in elections in Ghana is nothing new. There was a time when the NDC were in the position that we are in today. Today there's the majority. There was a time when we were in the majority. I'm confident that we'll get back to the majority.
Now we go to the media in the room. Aquaba Radio.
My name is DJ from Aquaba Radio. Nana, it's been a lot spoken about the voters register, new voters register. My question to you is, if the EC doesn't agree to a new voters register, will the MPP still contest the election?
That is one of the decisions I can take on my own in the election. The MPP has structured we have to meet at the level of the National Executive, the National Council, and make those decisions. But I think that what is important is, one, with the electoral register, the electoral commission refused to have a list. What is the argument for not having a list? All across the continent, people, when they're having these elections, have new registers. They could be having a new one for this election, have a new one for the next election. Nigeria is having a new one for this current election. Tanzania is having one for its current election. beginning is how the new one first started. It's a pattern that is going across the country, especially when the arguments that have been raised so far have not been in any way contravened or contested. When we raise the issue of over 70,000 people, foreign nationals on the road, the NDC, which is defending this register for reasons that still are not clear to me, told us that they were identical twins. We remember that argument. Then they became, it was originally that we had produced a fake register. When they discovered that the register was genuine, it was then said that the people of the register were identical twins. Then it became a question of Togolese who lived in Togo, and then come now to register. And all kinds of arguments that showed you quite clearly that what we had done was true. And if it is true that there are foreigners on our register, if it is true that there are millions of people on the register who register with an identification that has been outlawed by the Supreme Court, the National Health Insurance Scheme, and that people's photos have been scanned onto this register when they should be digitally captured. It tells you that the database of the DC and the product that they have produced to the register, I would say is the compromise. The simplest thing to do is to have a new one. In 2011, when the Nigerians went to their last election before this one, they had 74 million people on the register. When Professor Jager subjected the people on the register to the issuance of the PVCs, the permanent voters card, 68 million people initially turned out another 4 million people were not on the register. 10 million people were taken off the register as a result of the re-registration, showing you that the register of 2011 was bloated. That's the same experience in Cote d'Ivoire. The election that they went to in 2010 was about 8 million registered. They're going to be registered 5 years. The election on Sunday, 5 years later, was a register of 6.7 million. So the arguments that are being made about the bloated register and the need to have a more accurate, reliable register are irresistible. I cannot for the life of me think that there's any reason. The only people who are resisting the idea of a new register are the National Democratic Congress. They believe that the National Democratic Congress is standing below what everybody else in the country wants. That's not how I understand democratic decision making.
Thank you.
African Post.
Give it to him, guys.
Yes, I believe I think the question for that has been answered. Yeah, but I must say that I will welcome you to America,
Thank you very
and
much.
I'm particularly encouraged to see you looking so strong and healthy.
Old man at the end of my term.
No, you're not. I'm very encouraged, and by your message, I can tell you're going to be a very good president.
Thank you.
We're looking forward to that,
Appreciate it.
and we thank you for giving us this opportunity to meet with you, and we hope to meet with you more and more in the coming years.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. It's a novel experience for me, the one that I think Mr. Tonton is responsible for. And I'm looking forward to it. It's something that is hard to speak.
Kwesi,
Yeah, Sarah.
to introduce yourself.
I'm not representing Sarah today, I'm representing GHNewsNow.com. And my question to you, Nana, is I had the privilege of attending the youth conference, the MPP Youth Conference. Of the many things that were said, the one that struck me most is that the NPP, the only thing standing in between the NPP and victory is unity, internal party cohesiveness. Between now and November 7th, which is when we hear the poll is going to be taken, what is the plan to bring the party fully together to make sure that victory actually?
First of all, I was encouraged by the attitude of the party in my recent rising bill tour. I went in a period of 6 weeks to all 10 meetings of Ghana and found that the party on the ground, the party in the places, is very coherent, very, very gung-ho for victory, determined to work hard as a group. As you know, the main purpose of going around was to make sure that those who are contesting the parliamentary primaries and that have not been lucky and lost should feel that they are part of the process going forward. By and large, all the information that I have is that it succeeded. That point, that penny is seriously dropped. I found the party of the plan is very strong and very united. There are some squabbles at the top of the party. We're working on it. And I'm confident that they will disappear and that the coherence through the entire body politic of the NPP from top to bottom to top will assert itself for us to go to the next election. All of us recognize the absolutely critical significance of us having to win the next election. The way in which John Mahama and his government govern Ghana and manage our affairs, if we allow them another term, we're committing generations of Ghanaians to a future of hopelessness, a future of difficulty and of wretchedness. We cannot afford to do it. And I believe that beyond everything else, that is the unifying factor for the NPP. The historic responsibility that we have to be able peacefully to get rid of an incompetent and corrupt administration so that we can free up our people and the energies of our people to rebuilding Ghana again. We have no reason being in the condition that we are in Ghana today. Sources, the material and human resources that the country has, properly directed, properly managed, should be capable of creating a much healthier civilization for ourselves than we have now. Young people have work where things are working and Ghana itself is working again. I think everybody in the NPP recognizes the responsibility that we have to bring about this new in Ghana, and that therefore we will find a way to do so. I'm confident. I know I am. I'm very, very confident about it.
Before we come back to the room, there's a question here for you. With Ghana, they're totaling about 115 billion Ghana cedis. Where are you and your government going to get money to govern the country?
That's one of the key questions of our time, because if that matter is not satisfactorily answered, really the future of our country is going to be seriously compromised. One thing that happened that I saw with my own eyes and felt and was part of was that in 2001, when we took office under President Akufo-Addo, there was a recognition in the markets, public sectors of our partners and friends and inside our country that a group of people had taken over that had a serious plan about how to get Ghana working again. Our country was a hippie country. It was so declared. Yet within 4 years, we had been able to stabilize the Ghanaian economy and put it on the road to growth. People recognized that those who had come into government had come to do a serious and responsible job. And therefore, the fiscal space that was required was provided Kufuor's government by restructuring of our debt. Essentially, that was what it was, the restructuring of our debt. I believe strongly that that same process is going to happen after 2017. And we'll be in a position to restructure our debt and get the fiscal space that we require to do the important things to get the economy of Ghana working again. That is my answer. We're going to have to look at it and get the best arrangements for the country. And I'm very, very confident that we have men and women inside the NPP and beyond the NPP, when we put together, we'll be able to produce that result for the country.
Thank you, Nana. My name is Kojo Usude, popularly known as Kojo DC from Akufo-Addo Radio. First of all, welcome to America, the entire family. I've really followed you since. So I hail from your place, I'm from Chibia. So that's one thing. I asked the question, first of all, about the debt of Ghana, but just to be a follow-up. According to the former minister, which is some from our office, Ghana cannot go back to pre. So how are we going to restructure our debt? And let me ask this as well. Is the former president going to campaign for you this time around?
Which former president campaigned for me in 2012? He campaigned for me in 2008. I've known that if his health is then permits, he will campaign for me again in 2012, 16. There's no two ways about it. He will campaign for me. Yes, it is true. We're not going to go back to EPIC again in the sense of going through the EPIC process. We're still getting the benefits of it. But we can sit around the table and talk to our creditors and find a solution going forward about how the debt is to be done. It's possible for us to do so. Many countries have done it. Ireland has done it. Many countries have done it. And we are going to do the same. We're going to sit down with our creditors, look at our debt stock, look at the payment pattern of that stock, and renegotiate the terms of payment of that. So that we'll do it because we're going to restore confidence in the Ghanaian economy. It's the most one single item that is seriously lacking at present, which is why when we go to borrow money, we get the money at punitive rates like we did recently with the Eurobond, where we're getting the highest yield interest rate of any country in Africa today, nearly even 8% for 1 billion. And then 1 billion. And at the end of the day, that money is not even to finance capital development. It is to repay debt. There's a refinancing of our debt. We're piling debt upon debt, just to keep afloat. It's not bad.
Can I ask a follow-up question? I know I don't have the time. Yesterday at Heritage Foundation, you said Ghana spent $2.5 billion to service our debt. How are we going to get that money if you're late to pay that debt to service?
We're talking about the restructuring. I mean, if you sit down with your creditors and they say that yes, you have a serious plan going forward on the economy so that the monies that you're supposed to pay today, delay and defer the payments and give you some space. All that can be done. All that is going to be put on the table. And we'll see. It may well be when we take over the public finances and the figures there will be worse than we anticipate. I pray that that will not be the case. But whatever be the case, whatever state we find ourselves in, we are going to work hard to bring Ghana out of it. Because we cannot say that because we found the state in a terrible situation, therefore we fold up our hands and say, oh, we can do nothing about it. On the contrary, we're going there to do a job for the country, to bring the country up again. We believe we have the plan, we have the men and women working on the way.
Another question. A concerned Ghanaian wants to know from me, Addo, about corruption. That many people in Ghana do not necessarily take allegations of corruption seriously. And it appears every political party in opposition wants to talk about it. What would you do pragmatically to be able to tackle this corruption issue? And how deep is this Mahama-led government in corruption?
Well, I mean, the last question, how deep is there consistent allegations? But insofar those allegations have not been established in any meaningful way, they remain allegations. But the more important thing would be, I think that the fight against corruption in our country has to take three forms. First of all, the legal. What does it mean when I say the legal? There are laws in place which, when you apply and enforce, will help you minimize and reduce corruption. Take, for instance, the Public Procurement Act. I was the Attorney General that prepared the Public Procurement Act, which insists that the public transactions are subject to competitive tendering as a general rule. And in very exceptional cases, you will be entitled to sole sourcing for your contractor of a public transaction. Very exceptional cases. usually to do with national security issues. And as a rule, the competitive tender is the way forward, because out of it you're supposed to get the most competitive prices, you get value for money, etc. The public procurement act under John Mahama is not being operated. Virtually every important transaction they enter into is sole sourcing. That clearly opens up the room for corruption, for inflated contracts that do not give you value for money. So if you apply the Public Procurement Act, if you're serious about dealing with corruption, the law is on the statute book. You apply. You make sure that all the ministries, all the agencies of the government, when they want to buy things, they apply the Public Procurement Act. As Minister in Foreign Affairs, I did so. And in our time, we had to do so for virtually everything. We buy air conditioners for the office, station, all of that. You had to go through the procurement process. So that's something that you do. You insist that the law is applied. Apart from applying the law, you also will insist that if people transgress the law, if evidence arises that somebody has dipped their hands into public funds, or that they have been subject to a corrupt act, that they will face the full rigors of the law. We are in a situation where a lot of people think that prosecution of corruption of political leaders is a partisan exercise, which I know myself accept that argument. But I recognize that out there, that is the perception of large parts of our public opinion. Fair enough. There is a solution, and the solution will be to create, like I've already put on the table, an office of special prosecutor who will be an independently appointed person, not appointed by the president. There will be a formula for appointing him, which will involve Parliament, which will involve a special majority of Parliament, so that that person will be somebody chosen by consensus, not just on a simple majority, but 2/3, for instance, that will make sure that both opposition and government agree on that person, and give that person statutory and legal independence by virtue of the nature of the charter that you set out for them. And then you provide that person also with the means, the support staff, in terms of investigators, in terms of prosecutors, and let that person go about doing their work. And hopefully you find somebody who has a reputation as an independent-minded person, and who will therefore be in a position to apply the law. These are the measures, the legal measures you take. But then there is the atmosphere, the moral attitude. It happened a lot in Dr. Busia's time. If you remember, many of you probably a bit too young to remember Dr. Busia's time, which is good, but some of the senior people are here. They will remember office after office all over the country were these exhortations: don't take money and don't accept bribes. We will have to revive that kind of crusade. And then thirdly, the personal example of the leader. If at the top you have somebody who says, I take seriously my vow of public service, that I've come here to do a job for the people of Ghana, not for myself, I will declare my assets publicly. I'll insist that my ministers do so. Now make it clear to everybody that my example, that I'm going to give an honest account of my stewardship to the people of Ghana, will apply to the people around me too. I've said so. And I'll repeat it again. In the next MPP administration, those who are coming there to make money will find that there's no space for them. They want to make money. I don't have a problem about making money. I'm not some communist or Maoist or something. I don't have a problem about people making money, but not in public service. If you choose to be in public service, then you have chosen exactly that public service. On the other hand, you want to make money, you go into the private sector and you make money. Many of it is you ban, pay taxes, and you get on with your life. So these is a mixture of things that you're going to have to do: the legal, the exhortation, the moral exhortation, appealing to the conscience of people and to their sense of integrity and honesty, and then the personal example that you as leader and those working in leadership will give to the society. If all those go together, I think that in a reasonably short period of time, we'll see the impact that it will be in the state transition. But these are the series of measures that occur that offer themselves to you as the way forward for years.
So, what we're going to do about it, we're going to give people online around the world an opportunity to ask. Kofi-Addo is the moderator. We're going to take one question online here. If any of the radio stations do have a question, you can let me know now, and I'll give you 1 minute to do that if any radio station has a question. So we're going to take one question from the question. Okay, all right.
Just one final question.
Take one final question. Okay.
I would like to thank you very much for coming. We, the NPP USA, we are confident that you will win in 2016. Under the President John Mahama governance, we have heard of terrible and unfavorable conditions for women and children in general. And I know you have good strategies for women to help women and children in general. So I would like you to expatiate on what you'll be doing for women and children, especially women's maternal and health issues, and their children's education. Thank you.
The children's education is another which I've spoken many times, but I continue to speak. I think it is absolutely essential that we create a system in Ghana that insists that every child in Ghana goes to school. And just doesn't go to school to drop out in halfway through, but they go to school from primary to at least the end of secondary. And that is why we are going to establish this free basic education system, which will insist that from kindergarten up to the end of secondary school, every child in Ghana will have to go to school. Of course, if your people have the money and are prepared to take you to the private school system, I don't have a problem with that. But certainly we would have a public school system that can make it possible for everybody to have access. We want to make the law to do it compulsory. Have a law that says it is compulsory. You see a child out in the street, midday within the school within the fence. The child will be tracked, the parents will be found, and there will be sanctions. Every child in Ghana will have to go to school. And go to school up to the end of secondary. So that's one thing. The financing and the funding are problems that we deal with, but that is the principle. And then give people the opportunity to express themselves. And all of us know that education is the big catalyst for opportunity in the world. Many people come from very humble backgrounds, by which hard work and having access to education become totally transformed, and the circumstances are transformed. We want to make that opening, that access available to all sectors of our people, to all groups in the country, all, whatever your ethnic group and the circumstances of your birth, you have access to school. As far as the women are concerned, I think the NPP has been very consistent. We've had a series of policies. It was the first time that we had free antenatal care, if you remember, for women. We'll find a way of restoring. We are going to, of course, insist on equity, the appointments of women in the state of Paris, including in the government. It was our government that first established the gender ministry, which was specifically dedicated to women and children. All of those measures and the broader social measures that are in place, which impact women and children, two will be there. We're talking about the school feeding program, the capitation grant that enables people from poor homes to access schooling. All those measures are going to be restored. You're talking about making the NHIS work, giving exemptions and children and old people having it work properly. National health insurance system scheme that is working properly, therefore guarantees good care for women in their pregnancy, when they fall ill. There's a whole gamut of things that are going to be done that will solidify the place of women in our society as productive members of the society, as equal members of the society, who are contributing where they also make the progress of the country. It's a matter for which I feel very strongly. I have 5 daughters. And if you include my wife, you can see that I'm surrounded by nothing but women. So it is very difficult for me to run away from the issues that the women represent. 2 sisters. I mean, I'm inundated with women wherever I turn. I'm not very comfortable with it. So yes, we're coming with a program with women who feature strongly, small-scale enterprises, assistance that we're giving together with the force. So lots of women across the country, hairdressers, tailors, small-scale business to have access to credit to expand their businesses. All these things will be on the table and are going to be worked out well.
All right, so I think that'll be all for now. We had a couple questions which you already answered, which is regards entrepreneurs. So we'd like Kofi Amia to thank everybody else in the room for us, and then we'll call it a day for today.
Yeah, we really appreciate all of you coming, those even on Skype and on the phone. Finally, Nana, your message for Ghanaians.
We're going through very difficult times in our country at the moment because of the mismanagement of our economy, the fact that people who are put there either don't know what to do, don't care what to do, and they've plunged our country into an unnecessary crisis. So there's a lot of despair amongst Ghanaians, both home and abroad. I want Ghanaians to believe that this is not the natural condition that we should have, and that it is possible for us to create a brighter future for ourselves. We have the human and material resources to do so. I want people to have hope that there is that brighter tomorrow and that we can fulfill the potential that God has given us. Ghanaians are, for me, the extraordinary people of the black peoples of the world. We were the first to gain freedom. We have been the pace setters of democratic development on the continent in recent times. Every time you talk about being a Ghanaian, you know that within the community of black people, that you are looked upon as something special. Let us continue to have that special attitude. And let us believe that yes, we have that great destiny out there, and that there are people coming to point the way to us to realize that destiny. I want you to have confidence in me. I want the Ghanaian people to have confidence in me. My life has been an open book. I've been in the forefront of the struggle for democracy for the last 40 years. Everything about me is known. And I want you to have confidence that if you put your destiny in my hands, put the resources of the country in my hands, they are going to be used for your